You know, when you look up at the moon, what do you see? Probably this silent, pristine, untouched world, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Truth is, if you could zoom right in on those Apollo landing sites, you wouldn't see untouched nature. Nope. You'd see a junkyard.
And the scale of this is just mind-boggling. All told, we're talking about 400,000 pounds of human-made stuff just sitting up there on the lunar surface. But honestly, the most shocking part isn't the crashed probes or the leftover gear.
No, it's this number, 96. That's how many little white bags filled with human waste, urine, feces, you name it, were just left behind by the 6 Apollo missions that landed on the moon. Yeah, you heard me right. There are 96 bags of human waste sitting on the moon right now.
And believe it or not, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This lunar junkyard is full of all kinds of artifacts from our first baby steps off-world. So let's do a quick inventory of what we left behind. I mean, the variety of stuff up there is just wild. You've got about 70 spacecraft, crashed probes, and the bottom halves of the lunar modules. Then there's the fun stuff. 2 golf balls, thanks to Alan Shepard on Apollo 14. And get this, 12 pairs of space boots, including the very ones Neil Armstrong wore for that one giant leap for mankind.
But mixed in with all that hardware, there's something deeply personal. Apollo 16 astronaut Charles Duke left a photo of his family right there on the lunar soil, wrapped in plastic way back in '72. But after 50 long years of being blasted by unfiltered solar radiation, scientists are pretty sure that image is gone. It's been bleached completely white, just a ghostly, blank square sitting in the gray dust.
Okay, so all of this begs a really obvious question, right? Why on earth did these highly trained professional astronauts treat the moon like some cosmic landfill? Was it just sloppiness? Not a chance. It was all part of a very deliberate, very high-stakes calculation.
It all came down to one single, absolutely critical factor: weight. See, to get that lunar lander off the moon and back to the command module safely, it had to be as light as humanly possible. Every single ounce was meticulously accounted for. There was zero room for error.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the incredible choice they had to make. On one side, you have what they had to consider trash at that moment. We're talking expensive cameras, vital tools, those famous space boots, and, yep, the bags of waste. But on the other side, the treasure. The whole reason they went in the first place. The astronauts basically made a trade. They swapped thousands of pounds of gear for 842 pounds of priceless moon rocks and soil. I mean, they were literally tossing things out the hatch to make room. But this is where the story takes a really fascinating scientific twist. What was once just the most expensive garbage in history has, over time, become something else entirely. Something invaluable. So, after all that, it's pretty easy to just write this all off as garbage, right? A weird footnote about the realities of space travel. But is that really all it is? Absolutely not. Turns out, those 96 bags are now seen as a priceless, 50-year-long biology experiment. In fact, scientists are desperate to go back and get them. They need to know one thing. After a half-century on the moon, is anything in there still alive? And the reason why boils down to this really cool idea called panspermia. It's basically the theory that life, in the form of super tough microbes, could actually survive the brutal conditions of space. The vacuum, the radiation, the crazy temperature swings. The idea is that life could hitch a ride between planets, maybe on an asteroid or a comet, and seed life elsewhere.
And that is why those bags are no longer trash. They're the perfect, if accidental, test for this theory. Think about it. If the bacteria from the astronauts' own bodies, left up there since the late 60s and early 70s, somehow managed to survive 50 years in those bags, well, that would be huge. It would be powerful evidence that life is way tougher than we ever thought, and that it really could survive a journey between worlds. So where does that leave us? What happens now? Well, this story isn't just about the past. It points straight to the future of how we explore space.
So, NASA's upcoming Artemis missions are planning to take us back to the moon, and they're specifically aiming for some of these historic Apollo sites. But here's the kicker. We're not just going back to clean up our mess. We're going back because that mess might just hold the answers to some of the biggest questions we have.
And it really leaves you with this final kind of mind-blowing thought. Could it be that the key to understanding how resilient life is, how it might spread across the universe, isn't hidden on some distant planet, but is actually sitting right there on the moon, hidden in our own garbage?